Yeah. Good looking out there. Yeah. Ha, it's Flav, you heard? It's Flav. Check it, I had to get what I earned. It's my turn. Welcome to the show. It's Trenton's Tavern. Yeah. Ha, that's how we doing it. Welcome to the show, y'all. Enjoy.
So, welcome back to the show, y'all. Y'all know who it is. We don't need no introduction. Well, I'm gonna still give you an introduction. Mr. Parks and me and my man Red.
What up, everybody?
Red got on mad red today. He blooded.
It's laundry day.
He's blooding it out today, yo. You heard? All right, let's get it popping though. We're gonna set the mood. Thank you guys for all of the support. I really stopped checking the analytics, so I don't know how many followers and.
You are up to 416 now.
Ooh, thank you, Red. 416, we going up. I like it. 416, I think this is gonna be episode 36 because the last episode was 2 parts, so that's 35 and 35.2 or whatever. I believe this is episode 36. I'm not completely sure, but whatever it is, it'll be right in the description and all that other good stuff. Y'all know the deal. Continue to like, comment, subscribe, share, all of that good stuff. We're not gonna waste no time. We have a plethora of drinks here today. So if we start getting a little too pushy, you guys know why.
It's gonna be a little heavy today.
Yeah, because some of these topics, well, we got 2 topics. And it was Red's idea to talk about both of these topics. Excuse me, so they might get a little touchy. He said he was gonna piss some people off.
I was gonna say, for anybody I offend, don't take it out on him. Please subscribe. I don't have a YouTube channel or anything, so I'll just say, don't take it out on him. But I know for a fact, some of y'all are gonna get mad, and y'all might even question my black card a little bit. We're gonna see. But it's just, bro, I warned you. I sent you a text like, are you sure?
You
I said some people are gonna they're not gonna like me.
Yeah, back to it. So yeah, if these topics piss anybody off, I apologize. Some of this stuff is sensitive. I think everything in the world is sensitive today. You know what I mean? Sad. Which is really sad. Like, you can't talk about nothing but shit. It's my platform. I'm gonna talk about whatever I want to talk about. So this is gonna be topic of the day. We're gonna jump right into it. The 2 topics that we have today is, the first one is gonna be white privilege. We're gonna touch on that a little bit, and then the second one is gonna be about Breonna Taylor. Now, I don't know what he got to say about Breonna Taylor, but we'll figure that out. We'll figure all of that good stuff out, because everybody, has their own opinion about whatever. But the first thing is the white privilege, right? So first of all, Red, since this is your topic, what is your definition of just privilege, period? Like, what is
my definition of privilege or white privilege? Just privilege.
Before you put the white in front
to me, my definition of privilege are people who think just because they come from a certain background or look a certain way or used to certain things, they're entitled. They're entitled to shit with no repercussions.
Yeah.
To me, that is what privilege is. And now privilege can go black and white.
Yeah.
It's just like there are some uppity bougie white folks.
There's some uppity
bougie black folks too.
Right.
I went to an all Catholic school in high school. Mm-hmm. And now, don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna say I was fortunate growing up. We were middle class. We were probably low middle class, which my definition of low middle class of black people in the time I grew up, we were good enough. We made enough money not to live in the hood, but we didn't make enough to go fuck with the white folks. So so to me, we were kind of upper middle class. And I went to a Catholic private school in high school.
That's a decent life, though.
And that's where I learned the true definition of seeing what privilege. I went to school with kids whose parents were making incomes put together, probably damn near $1 million a year. Mm-hmm. I went to school. There were people whose dad. I went to Governor. I don't know if you were here back then.
Governor.
His son, there was a guy, Governor Richard Celeste. Mm-hmm. His son went to my high school. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think you were here then, but he was good. So yeah, I've been around it and I've seen it up hand, and that was just privilege. That had nothing to do with people being white and black. That was just privilege. Period.
Yeah.
So that is my definition of privilege. Thinking because you come from a certain place or have certain shit, you are just entitled to do. You just entitled to be wild, basically.
Okay, so I have two, kind of. My first definition is that. My second definition of privilege would be, it could also be like an honor as well. You know what I mean? Like it's like it. Just say like, say somebody was like, you know, I want you to speak at my whatever ceremony that means a lot to me. You know what I mean? And you'd be like, it would be my privilege.
That's
you know what I mean?
That's the good part.
That's the good part of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it would be my privilege to speak at it because I think so highly of you, blah, blah, blah. Now, the thing is, you can use privilege good or bad ways.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So when for me, if you want to be humble about something and you want to use your privilege in a good way, I don't think that's the privilege that comes along with whether you're saying black privilege or white privilege. I don't think you can use either one in a good way because now you're specifying something to a certain color of person.
Is there really? You said I don't mean it. I gotta ask.
Yeah,
because of something you just said. Is there really such a thing as black privilege? Honestly,
I guess if there's one thing, it's got to be another, right?
I don't know because I've never.
Because if there's black, it's got to be white.
We know there's white privilege, which we're going to talk about later. I'm trying to figure out if there is a black privilege, what is it?
That's a good question.
Other than being black itself, like what? No, seriously, like what is it? Because we have been disenfranchised for so many years. Like honestly, here's the reason I had, because you are not the first person I've heard phrase it that way. Now the other person who said it, the reason I didn't ask them nothing, because they're just dumb. I wouldn't talk to them about it. They was just, I think they was high and trying. Some motherfuckers get educated when they high. Anyway. The point I'm trying to make, but when I heard them say it, it got me to wondering, is there such a thing? And to hear you say it, and you're way more intelligent than this motherfucker. Like, is there really such a thing as black privilege?
Okay, the reason that I say that there's such a thing is, the reason why I say that black privilege is a real thing is because even if you do, we know of white privilege because this is what people made it this way, right? Over the years, this is people made it this way. I say the black privilege thing is, it doesn't get recognized because of the world that we live in. And I'm pretty sure that this is only here in America. You know what I mean? But if we actually went back to Africa, or where our ancestors and stuff came from, right? I think that we would have a lot more privileges over there.
Well, that's just, you're right, but that's because we were the dominant population in that area.
That's why I say there's such thing as black privilege. The world just made it.
Okay, is there black privilege in America?
Absolutely not.
Okay, thank you.
It's not. I'm talking about life in general. But
okay, no.
We all know for sure. You know what I mean? There is no such thing. I think the only time black privilege comes in place is if you're famous. And it's as simple as that, because I was listening to The Breakfast Club and Chris Rock was on there. And they was talking about, Charlamagne was asking him, so how do you teach your kids this, and that? You know what I mean? How to deal with the police and blah, blah, blah. And Chris Rock was just well, Charlamagne, just to be honest with you, you and I and everybody that I'm talking to right now on this radio station make enough money for where our kids, they might have to deal with it, but once they find out who their parents is, you know what I mean, things will change.
That's
you know what I
true.
mean? And that's
true.
Just because of the tax bracket that we're in and
That's
the people
true.
that we are.
That's true.
And that's what it is. You only see black privilege for people that have money to, you know what I mean, for the people that's up there with the upper echelon of white people.
I think that, and that is so true. But I also think in some ways that's bad.
Mm-hmm.
I think
it's terrible.
I think like my parents, your parents, the generation that was right before us.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that was a good standing point because they saw what their parents went through, and it made them appreciate life, so to speak, more. Our generation and everybody coming up after us. I mean, because let's think about it. What's the worst thing that's happened to them? Is okay. You got the police killing black people, which technically has been going on forever. So I'm not gonna say that don't count, but that's been around. Other than COVID, they ain't been through shit.
Who's that? The generation coming after us?
The generation coming after us.
Oh yeah. No, they haven't been spoiled.
Yeah, they haven't
spoiled.
been through anything. But I also think that's the problem with some of the youth in our country today is like, you really don't understand the fight that people went through to get the rights, even if you feel it's only few rights that we have.
Right.
Those few rights, people fought hard for that shit.
Right.
They fought hard.
Facts.
And that's what worries me about this generation. It's like you don't respect. You have to respect. It's like you hear it all over the place, regardless whether it's in songs, movies, at the family reunions, the regular cookout. You have to respect the OGs to a certain degree.
Yep, always.
Because the OGs are the people who have been there and done some shit that you'll never see and never think about. Probably will never have to go through.
Right.
So even if you don't like a person, respect their opinion, because they're going to hip you to some shit that you ain't know about. And that's what worries me, like especially about my kids coming up in spite of what I've tried to tell them or what their moms have tried to tell them, school, anything else. You guys really don't know the fight. Mm-hmm. Just like I really don't know the fight because I wasn't there either. Mm-hmm. My grandparents knew the fight. Yeah, I'm sure your grandparents knew the fight. I know my grandparents knew the fight because my grandparents actually went to the March on Washington. They had back, I don't know if they called them Polaroids back then, but whatever pictures was called back then. Like I've seen pictures, and it's like these kids nowadays, and I think that's part of the reason some of them wilding out.
And to me, a lot of that has to do with like, you know, like when my mom got pregnant, I think she was maybe 16, maybe 15, 16. Mm-hmm. But you know what I mean? Like when she dropped out of high school so she could take care of her kids. You know what I mean? Like then she had to go back and get her GED later, or whatever the case may be. She had, I want to say she had my brother at 16, she had me at 18. Okay. You know what I mean? But the difference is she knew once she got pregnant that she had to become a woman. You know what I mean? And school was just too much to take care of her kids. She'd rather work 2 jobs or 3 jobs to provide for the kids rather than be in school, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, she's still a smart woman. She ended up going back later on, getting her GED or whatever the case may be. But the kids today, there's the same stuff is going on with young girls and stuff, young dads. But kids having kids and then with them being spoiled and not having to go through anything, that's what scares me about that generation. The only good thing I see out of that generation is they're not scared to speak up. Like they fighting for what they believe, you know what I mean? Equality and stuff like that. That generation after us.
Some of them are just talking to be talking. Those are the ones that piss me off.
You know what I mean? So that little rant was just to say how what we think about privilege. Now, when you put white in front of that,
white privilege to me is basically the same definition, but it's a little higher. You think because you're white, mm-hmm. that you're basically like a
superior.
You're superior, or you're some type of master race, or you know, your opinion is more important than others. Just because you're white,
or you're more important than others, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
You're
just better because you're white. And not to steal anything from a movie, but for those people who have never seen Spike Lee's Malcolm X movie, the scene where Denzel, the dictionary scene where he looks up the definition of white and black, mm-hmm. like when you look up white, how it says clear, innocent, pure, all that shit means white. Then you look up black and it said negative, impure, all that bullshit. Like, that's kind of the mindset of some people now in today's. And so to me, white privilege is thinking just because you're white, you're entitled, your opinion automatically matters, your life is more important. Everything about you is more important because you're white.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Do you believe that is something that people learn on their own, or do you believe that is something that they're taught from the way that they're brought up, along with white supremacy? Because I think they go hand in hand.
I believe it's something that you're taught.
Me too.
Just like racism. Racism is taught. No child is born to be like, hey, I hate niggas, I hate Mexicans, I hate Asians, I hate Jews.
Yeah, facts. Nobody's
born that fucking way.
Facts.
And for those of y'all trying to push that agenda, y'all are fucking ignorant. Nobody is born that way. I think it's taught in part. Now, the white privilege part, and just like we talked about on the last podcast when Janine is here, some stuff you naturally learn, because even if somebody's not teaching you something, you can still learn something.
Right.
They might not tell you to be this way. They might look at you and say, don't act this way. It's like that old ignorant saying. I'm not saying you don't know about it, but I know about it because I have children. You don't have any kids yet, but you find yourself looking ignorant when you say it with that whole thing of, do as I say, not as I do.
Right.
If you can look at a kid or something and tell them, hey, don't be racist.
Yeah.
But if they see all you doing is racist shit, you can't be mad if they turn out racist, because it's like, they got this shit from you, my dog. Like, you was racist and fucked up.
Yeah.
I think to a degree it's learned behavior. It is. It's learned. It's what you grow up observing and what you choose to soak in.
I know that it's learned / taught because as a kid, my mom used to run daycares. I've been around multiple people, like that have ran daycares, and I've seen white kids intermingle with black kids and stuff like that. And the way that they're taught the same exact way. When it's snack time, you got to stand in line. You don't get to cut the line because you're white.
Right.
You don't get to eat first because you're white. And these are kids. These are babies. Like, you don't get a toy because you're white. And all of the kids understand that at that age. This is when they get to a certain level, and it's like, well, you don't have to take that. Next time you call me, and then it's just stuff like that. It just keeps going over and over and over. So I definitely think it's a taught behavior, but I just wanted to make sure we was on the same page before we went any further. So, if you have white friends and they explore their white privilege around you, how do you handle that?
I check them. That's me. Because the thing is about being friends with anybody, I don't care if it's white, black, Asian, whatever. You have to be able to accept everybody's culture. Some people, regardless of where they're born, they're just going to naturally look at shit different.
Right.
But if a person is doing something disrespectful, especially if you're that black person with white friends, it is your job. I don't want to say it's your job to necessarily check them.
It is, though.
Well, no, I don't want to use the word check, because in our society, like when we say check is negative. Check is me punking you. Check,
okay, so you want to say
educate. Yeah,
educate.
It is your job. It is your responsibility to educate them on certain aspects, especially if there's aspects they're just missing. That is your responsibility as a black person.
I agree.
Now, that being said, you can do all the educating you want. Some people just ain't gonna get it. And if they're not getting it, then at that point you have to make a choice. Do I still keep dealing with this person?
Exactly.
Or do I just cut ties?
Exactly.
Because some people, it's gonna take them a little longer to get at the others. Not because they're indeed racist or something, but if somebody grew up in fucking Bexley or Dublin or Westerville, like the real parts we ain't at, and they don't know no better, when you first try and tell them something, they're going to be confused.
Yeah.
Or they're not going to understand. You can't throw them away for that because that's not their fault because they were never around it. They don't know no better.
Right.
And if you see that person trying, and if you see that person making an effort, it is your responsibility to also try to make an effort to a degree, help them stay on the right path.
Right.
But now, if it's another white person who grew up over on Parsons or Georgesville or Sullivan or Livingston, they know. And they know better. They should anyway. And even if they didn't, once you tell them once or twice, that's it after that. If they keep doing the same shit you tell them about, you at that point as a person, you need to make a decision. Like, how do you honestly keep dealing with a person that you know feels this way?
I've never seen anybody. I've never met a white person that has grown up in the bottom and has had any issues with like adapting to black culture. You know what I mean? Some people even like to say like they think that they black or whatever the case may be. But my thing is just like this. You can't really like, I hate when people say you talk white or you talk black. Like when I speak, do you see a color?
Thank you for calling.
Like you can't talk a certain color. If all you know is you've been in the hood, because my brother got a friend named Rob, right? Rob is white as hell. He's all the way white. But he's one of the most gangster niggas I know. But people be like, oh, he just think he black. And it's like, nah, that's all he grew up around.
Right.
So that's all he knows. Like, right. I've never seen Rob ever be like, yo, like with the cops, he like, yo, like when we get pulled over, he like, y'all don't say nothing, I got it. He just like, nigga, we all going down. Like, cause that's just his thing. He like, it like, it's not, he just doesn't have the tendencies of white privilege. You know what I mean? Like even though he probably could, because he's the only white dude in the car. You know what I mean? He could use that, but he's never been like, you know what I mean? He's never been like, not like, you know, like I got this, or you know what I mean? Like I'm white, so I do this, and you know.
That's the thing. He's gonna get looked at differently just because of that.
Because he don't use his privilege?
No, because he's looked at as privileged.
Mm.
He is, because he's white. He is.
That's tough.
It's tough. Is it any more tough than being looked at as armed just because you're black?
That's even tougher.
No, it is, but I'm saying it's the same stereotype, so to speak, if you will. He's white, so he's automatically good. I just need to talk to him. He's black. I gotta come at this motherfucker hard as a neck. It's the same thing, they're just done in different ways. And one is more positive than negative.
I mean, so
even though I agree with you, because you are a part of your surroundings.
Yeah.
Because I know some black people that if you didn't know no better, if you heard them talk on the phone or heard their voice or just watch how they interact, you would swear,
Robbie,
you would swear they was the whitest people on earth.
Yeah, word.
Because that's what they grew up around.
But why is like talking proper considered white? Does that have something to do with white privilege?
That's just stereotypical. That is.
Like a black person can't be well spoken. I don't understand.
It's like if you black, you automatically gotta have broken English.
Yeah, like
I can tell you something right now. 80% of the people at my job are white, and I'm gonna tell you right now, them are some of the most non-communicative talking motherfuckers I've ever heard in my life. We got one guy, we call him, to all of those who ever used to watch King of the Hill, used to come on Fox, Budenhauser or whatever his name was. Mm-hmm. We got a guy at work that talks just like that, and he's whiter than the whitest white dude, and that's how he talks. And he's saying. You never watched King of the Hill?
I don't understand what he was saying.
That's my point.
I watched.
That's my point, and that's how this dude is at work. I can never. Every time he comes and talks to me, I'll be looking at him like, "The fuck did you just say?" Like, I don't understand you, dude. Like, what? Yeah, that shit. Like, I can't, and that's how. So no, that's just stereotypical.
All right. So, yo, like, could you give me like some examples of white privilege?
Thank you for calling Play Beat. Please hold.
So the biggest example to me would be
I got one of my. Actually, I got a few too.
So here's a big example for me. If you're white and you have a black friend, if you're white and you have a black friend and you're also white and you basically like to mingle with,
indulge,
okay, with the black folks. If you think it's okay to say nigga just because your friends are black, the people you fuck are black, who you choose to commiserate with is black, that in itself is white privilege. And the reason it's white privilege is because you say that and you think there's nothing wrong with you saying it. You have no idea what the issue is. And then when somebody tries to tell you, you look at them confused and you have the nerve to look at them and say, you're wrong because it's not like that. That to me is a big definition of white privilege. These people around the world today that are refusing to wear a mask.
Facts.
I'm not saying that black people don't refuse to wear them. But until I see a viral video of some black person cussing out the little girl at Subway about their sandwich, saying their sandwich can't be made because they ain't wearing the mask, or cussing out the greeter at Walmart, which reminds me, stop cussing out the old people at Walmart.
Word.
That's just rude, and
Word.
you're going to hell if you do that. But cussing out the people at Walmart because they telling you can't come in here if you don't put a mask on, like you feel you're above catching COVID or like whatever, that is white privilege. Also, getting pulled over by the police and getting asked, let me see your ID versus putting your hands up. That is fucking white privilege.
Actually, that is white privilege. And the crazy thing is, like, with the police thing, because that was one of my examples. I was riding with one of my friends one day a long time ago. He was working at the rink, and we went to go get Chipotle in Bexley. And once you know when you're crossing that bridge or whatever to get back on like towards 104, and it's that speed trap. It's like it goes from like 25 to I don't know, but it's a speed trap. It goes from like 35 to like 25, and if you going over within that mile radius, and I mean, if you're going over the speed limit, they gonna get you. Like that's just one of the streets you don't speed down because they just be getting you. So we got pulled over, and the first thing she does is she calls her dad. She calls her dad, and she's like, "Dad, I'm about to get a ticket, and I'm so freaking pissed." And I'm like, "Well, you were speeding," and her dad was like, "Well, maybe you should slow down and stop speeding, right?"
Yeah.
So she's like, "No, I didn't." So she hung up on her pops because he didn't say the right thing, right? So then she decides to call. I want to say she called Hop. She called Hop, and she's like, "Robbie, I'm getting pulled over, blah blah blah," or was it? She called a police officer. We know it might not have been Robbie at the time because I think he was still working at the the ring too. But she called one of our police friends, and long story short, they ended up being like, the cop was like, "Well, I already wrote the ticket. I'm gonna give it to her, but I'm not gonna write it down as, you know what I mean, like whatever, because I already wrote it up. But I'm gonna just give her a warning." I'm like, that right there.
That's white privilege.
Is the finest point of white privilege, because if I would have even if I would have reached for my phone, I'm not sure I would be alive today. You know what I mean? Like she was so mad because she was in the wrong. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, huh? Another example too. Another one of my good friends, which and like I don't know for sure if they know that these things that they doing are white privilege. They just think it's like, oh, I was lucky that day, or you know what I mean, like I should be able to do this. Another thing, one of my friends was like, they was having, I want to say a toothache, a real bad toothache, and they was like, excuse me, it's like, I can't wait no more, you know what I mean, my dentist is closed, I have to go to the emergency room, so they can prescribe me some pain medicine until I can get into the dentist. So it's 5 o'clock. Let's just say that the doctor's office closed at 5.
Right.
This man goes into his without calling his doctor or anything. He just shows up at the appointment, and he's just like, yo, I need to see it's 4:45. The doctor closes at 5 o'clock. He's like, I just need to see the doctor so he can prescribe me something to have to take this pain away, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? And then I'll be out y'all here. So the doctor, the receptionist looks at him and she's like, all right, let me go tell him. And then she's like, okay, it's cool, blah, blah, blah. We can get you in. And then his thoughts was, oh man, I was just lucky that day. I said, that's not lucky. Because if I just walk up in my doctor's office without an appointment, you think they're going to schedule me for that day? Absolutely not. They're going to be like, you have to come back or you got to schedule a different appointment. Even if it's an emergency, they're going to be like, go across the street to the emergency room. You know what I mean? Like, you don't understand. Like, and it's harmless because he thought he just was having a lucky day. But at the same time, it's like, fam, we don't get those same opportunities. We don't get that same type of treatment when it comes to doctors and stuff like that. Like, it's just different. They would have told me to go to the emergency room. They wouldn't have had scheduled a doctor's appointment 15 minutes before the doctor's closed. They wasn't about to let me go back there so he could prescribe me anything. And he's like, well, why not? And it's just like, fam, the color of our skin is why not. I know that's hard to believe, but that's the truth. You know what I mean? Like, so, I mean, I've definitely been around it. I don't think that my friends, I don't think that they know they have it when they have it. They just think that that's the way it's supposed to be. And I kind of agree it is the way it's supposed to be, but it's just not that way for black people. In my eyes.
No, and I agree with everything you said, but because of the format that me and you have, I want to kind of play devil's advocate for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for calling Plays Beats. Please.
How are you supposed to respond if you are that typical person who fits the stereotype?
Ooh.
Like, let's just take the example you gave.
Yeah.
Doctor's office.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because I look white, I can go in the same said doctor's office. Just walk, give the same reason and they help me.
Because you look white?
That's the basis of what you said.
Mm-mm.
Now.
Well, these motherfuckers were white.
No, but still. But what if I come in the office acting like the quote unquote angry black person?
Well, it was nothing to be angry about.
No, you're missing my point. You're missing my point.
What's your point then?
Some people fit the stereotype of what each race is.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. There are some people, when you think of white, you think of some people that if you stick to the stereotype, some people that are white, they're corny. They're all talk like this and that. They all, all that. Versus the other motherfucker, versus the black person, if, they walk around, they automatically have broken English. They automatically have their pants sagging. They automatically come across very aggressive in situations you don't need to be aggressive in.
Mm-hmm.
How do you handle it? How do you handle a person if they're fitting the stereotype? Because the reason I ask that is because if you are treating the stereotype as what it is, does that really make you a racist, or does that really make you acknowledging privilege, or are you just basically treating something as it is what it is at that point?
Wait, what are you asking?
I'm asking, how do you deal with a person who is strictly who are the stereotype?
Like the stereotypical black or white person?
What society says, like, of that racial shit. How do you treat that person if they are fitting the stereotype of what's out there? How do you treat that person? And are you wrong for treating them like the stereotype they are portraying to be?
Okay, so you saying, does this come along with the privilege thing or just stereotypes?
I'm asking if it's privilege if the person, let's say me and you ordered something to eat right now. We call Uber Eats. We order Chipotle.
Mm-hmm.
White person comes to the door. Let's say the food is late. White person comes to the door. Hey, I'm sorry. They give us a detailed explanation of why they late. We say, okay, cool, no problem. We might even still give them a tip. Maybe. I'm kind of cheap sometimes, so I don't know if I would. But they go on about their business.
Mm-hmm.
the other Uber driver, let's say he's black. He comes to the door. Now, we're upset because we're consumers because our food is late. Like the app said, you was on the way. It's 6:53 right now. The app said you would be here at 6:25. It's 5 till 7, and you just getting here. We have a right to ask him that, like, yo, you know, I'm not even saying we ask angry because we might understand, like, yo, bro, hey, what happened? No, nigga, don't be coming at me like that. What if somebody comes at you, your food is here, fuck all that, don't worry about what I was doing. Like, so that's what I'm saying. Like, stop laughing. So if somebody acts like the stereotype that is portrayed by society, is that person really showing their privilege, or are they just agreeing with the bullshit that's put out there?
Okay,
that's what I'm asking.
Well, the thing is, right, because as you're playing devil advocate, I can play double
That's
advocate,
fine.
right? So let's just say it's switched. Let's just say the black person came, he or she gave us a explained definition, and then the white person came like, fuck you, dude, like, your fucking food is here. Like,
okay, me personally, because of the way I am,
yeah,
black dude gave me a detailed explanation.
It was like, bro.
I'm a cheap tipper anyway. They still gonna get a tip. I'm gonna be like, cool. The white dude, and actually, if anything, this might make me reverse racist, because if the white dude, if he acts like that, I might swing on that motherfucker. I'm just being honest. I know me.
But you wouldn't swing on the black dude?
No. You asked. You said reverse.
I'm just asking if the black dude came in.
I might swing on him too, because you ain't gonna disrespect me at my house. Let me tell you something. You come to my house, I don't care if you black, white, I don't give a fuck who you are. You are not disrespecting me at my house. Especially when I'm the one paying you.
Right.
I don't give a fuck what color you are.
Right.
But that's all I'm saying. But how do you handle when the person is acting like the stereotype they are? Just
okay.
No. Just like in the reverse thing of what you just said.
Yeah.
So fine.
So the black person ain't acting stereotypical.
What if it's the white person? What if it's the white person who's acting black and the black person who's acting white? Because we know some of them. I know a couple. Listen.
Definitely know some of them.
I have been fortunate in my life, the family I grew up in, to know both sides of the spectrum. I know some well-off people. I know some Scarface / Nino Brown, Godfather type people of all colors. I say that to say this. I know a couple white dudes. I ain't saying there's a lot. I know a couple white dudes that's harder than some of the hardest niggas out here. Mm-hmm. I'm just being honest.
Me too, for real.
I'm just being honest.
Me too, for real.
They look white. You could say they look like your typical white whatever. Get that motherfucker behind closed doors and see how they throw down.
Yeah.
You gonna look at them like.
Yeah, me too. I know.
Oh, okay. I'm good. I'm not fucking with that. So that's what I'm saying. How do you deal when it's the reverse stereotype? Because here's my problem with that. The reverse stereotype, the black people are looked at as bad, like they trying to pass or they want to be something that they're not. And I think that's bullshit.
Yes, yeah, it is.
But see, and that's what I'm saying. That's what makes this whole thing a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
That's why I say sometimes, and people call me naive for thinking this way. I think sometimes it just depends on the individual. I don't think it matters sometimes if a person is black or if a person is white. You can say the majority of black people are this way, or the majority of white people are this way, the majority of Mexicans are this way. You know, every class, every race has their own certain things about them that make them them. Mm-hmm. But every person is still an individual. Some people choose to follow the norm. Some people choose to, they take their own path. Mm-hmm. But it's a double-edged sword, and it's kind of hypocrisy in some ways, because you can't judge a motherfucker for being who they are.
That's the last point, and then we're gonna move on to Breonna Taylor. So hopefully y'all got that. Me and Red just be conversating for real. We go on different plots and points and views, and that's why the last episode was so long, because when Janine was there, we made it even longer.
Man, and let me tell you, wait a minute, so I don't know if you do it. I'll admit, like, I've literally seen every episode, mm-hmm. but every episode we've done together, the minute you post it, I go back and watch it, and I'll be like, damn. And then the first thing that clicks in my mind is like, ooh, I knew some of the shit he took out. I'd be like, oh man.
Yeah, I can't post. I mean, that's the last point. Is we're gonna talk about how do you deal with the black friends that accept it or conform to it. You want to touch first?
I believe you have to confront it, but there's two ways you can confront it.
Yeah.
You can
First of all, before we go any further, what we mean by that, before he answers in his two ways, what we mean by that is you have a black friend that allows white people to say and do stuff that is triggering to black people. Very, very triggering to black people. And you know that in your mind, or they know that in their mind, that if certain friends was around, either they're going to step up and say something, or you're going to say something so nothing pops off because of the certain people that's around. Which means there's already a problem within a problem, because if you're not the same person around all your friends, you have an issue. It's as simple as that. I love all my friends equally. All my friends know to respect me and my beliefs and everything equally. You know why? Because I set that in stone a long time ago. I don't really have new friends. Actually, to be completely honest with you, Red is probably my newest friend, and he's became one of my closest friends. You know why? One of the main things is I met Red back in February last year.
Hop's birthday.
Last year?
His
Or
birthday
this year?
party.
Last year, because COVID.
No.
Was it this year?
It was
Before COVID popped off.
No, because that's what I tell people. They watch the people who have reached out to me. They watched our episodes, and the first thing they say is like, "You and this motherfucker must have been friends for a year." I've been like, "No." The sad thing is, we've only been friends like 8 motherfucking months.
Okay, so boom. That makes it even better. Like I don't just have new friends. I know a lot of people, you know what I mean? I talk to a lot of people or whatever the case may be. But when I call you my friend, it's because I'm calling you my friend. So Red is my friend. He's gonna be around for a long time, you know what I mean? And even though he's black, like I said, like he gets portrayed as the white guy because he looks white. You know what I mean? Like when he was first on the show, everybody's like, "Who's this white boy you got on the show?" I'm like, "That's a nigga." Like, I mean, it wasn't nothing bad. Like most of it was women. Like that's a little cute white boy. I'm like, he not white. You know what I mean? He's a nigga. He's just his skin is just he's albino. He's an albino guy, man. Like,
don't drink two of these, but now I got.
Nah, you can have all of them. That's why I bought them for you. But yeah, there you go. I knew who Red was from the time that I met him, and then he was like, you know what I mean, we need to do this and to do that. And the more that we chilled, I just knew that this was a guy that I know, you know what I mean, that will have my back. He's a good person. I can come to him for advice, you know what I mean? Like he's a real friend, you know what I mean? So with all of my friendships, I set my standards in the beginning of the friendships, and if they don't, you know what I mean, like we can have differences, we can have different beliefs, we can have different religious beliefs, we can have different political beliefs, we can have different beliefs, period, and we can still be friends because we respect, my friends respect me, I respect my friends.
Right.
It's as simple as that. So I'm not gonna have no white friends that's gonna be saying stupid shit, excuse my language, that's gonna be saying stupid stuff around me, and I'm just gonna like, that's funny. Like, nah, that's not gonna happen. My friends know what they can and cannot say around me because they know I'ma check them. It's as simple as that. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm the same person in everywhere I go. It doesn't matter where I'm going. I can go to the whitest of white places and I'm still gonna be the same person. You know what I mean? Like, I can go to the hoodest of hood places. I'm still gonna be the same person. I can go to the mixed clubs. It doesn't matter. Like, me and my friends, wherever we go, we can be the same people. We can be us because, you know what I mean, it's already etched in stone as the who I am and what I believe in. So you're not going to get me. For the black friends that you're different, and it shows, like, the thing is, it shows that you're a different person when you intermingle your friendships, and you have white friends that try to pull that white privilege stuff, and you just laughing at it, and then your real black friends is there, and they like, why ain't you checking this, nigga? Like, this ain't funny to me. Or you just laughing it off, or whatever the case may be. Like, yeah, that shows a different side, and now I'm looking at you differently. Not this person I don't know. I'm now looking at you differently, because I'm like, you really sitting here allowing this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm sorry to go off on that rant. I just wanted to get that out first, and now Red can take it over and say what he had to say.
It's a rant. It's a rant that's important. It is. What was the question?
How do you deal with?
Answer it, right?
Yeah. How do you deal with your black friends that accept it? That accept that.
So the person we were talking about, April.
Yeah.
Our friend had a thing at his house.
And we not putting you on blast. We just telling the truth.
This is common knowledge.
Play beats, please
And
hold.
she said the N-word.
Twice around me, more around him.
So
Twice in one night around me.
It happened once before it happened to him.
Mm-hmm.
So same individual friend. We were sitting in his garage, smoking cigars. She was talking about this motherfucker she dealing with.
She didn't say nigger.
No,
she just
and
was
she
casually
wasn't- yeah,
explaining the situation.
Yeah, she wasn't saying
and she
it.
was like, this nigga.
She was like, this nigga.
And I'm like,
getting on my nerves. And the first thing I did, like I heard it, and I kind of peeled over and him, he ain't say nothing. Night went on. She's still talking about old boy. Said it again. So when she said it the second time, I finished my drink, I left. My friend, he called me the next day because he knew I lied and said I was drunk and I needed to go home. He knew I wasn't drunk because he's been around me. I was not drunk.
right.
But that being said, he called me the next day and I told him what the issue was. Long story short, me and April had a falling out because I told her about herself. But after really thinking about it, as much as I was mad at her, I needed to be mad at him.
Equally.
Because it's like, she feels comfortable enough around you to say this word with no repercussions. And me and him had a conversation, and I told him, and I was just being honest, like, if y'all got some type of kinky sex game slave, sex game slave type shit, you're Django and she's whoever, Candyland or something.
Yo, I'll smack that nigga.
I'm just saying, if that's what you do behind closed doors, that's fine. But when she's around your friends and you have friends that are not going to accept that, you need to check her. So me and him kind of got at an impasse for a minute because he never really did that. So then there was another night when we was all hanging out. She said some shit. I ended up cussing the bitch out. I'm just going to be honest.
Hold on. Before he go any further too, not only that, and we went about it respectfully. And again, our friend, you know who we are. You know what we talking about, which is just an example. We're not trying to down you. That's not your chick or nothing anyways, but it's just an example. Before he cussed her out, we all got into a group chat and was like, listen, fam, this ain't acceptable. Like, before this gets any further, you need to say something yourself. So we gave him a chance to check the situation before it got out of hand.
Gave him like 2 weeks.
At least 2 weeks. And I heard nothing else of it. Like, I don't go out with them like that. So I miss a lot of stuff, but I you know what I mean? I didn't hear nothing of it. So in my head, it's like, cool, homie handled it. Now that leads to him checking her. Now you can go.
So I looked at it like it was his fault. What bothered me about that was, and this person we're talking about, he has other white friends, which is fine. I got white friends. What irritated me about the whole thing is how he kind of said it doesn't bother him. Here's why I know that was a lie. And he's going to watch this and get mad, and we can talk about this later to you. Because I know you're going to text me and start some shit. And you know this is what... No, because I love him to death, but This is what we do. It's funny because he knows how to separate his friends, because we can both attest. As much as he invites us, or as much as we go to certain places, there's other places he never invites us to.
It's a fact.
Ever. You can look at it as now. You can choose to look at it in the positive way as like, I know these two motherfuckers, they ain't gonna want food with these people. I ain't gonna bother.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And in certain instances,
That's most of
that
what
may
it
be
is.
true.
That's most of what it is.
There's also the other thing of he knows these two motherfuckers ain't gonna put up with that shit.
Absolutely.
So I ain't gonna invite them.
That's
so
what
if you know how to make that decision before inviting us somewhere, you know how to make that decision in dealing with your friends.
That's a fact.
Nobody's asking you to pick and choose, because that's not fair, and I wouldn't do that. But you do need to make them understand, like, hey, everybody's not like me. What you say when it's just me and you, regardless whether it's good or bad, regardless whether I agree with it, regardless whether he agrees with it, regardless whether all the black folks watching this agree with it, the white folks watching this agree with it. Some shit just needs to be separate. And it is your responsibility as a black person, if you have that white friend who you have ingratiated into the black circle, you need to make sure they understand the black rules on certain shit. Just that simple.
It's simple.
Is what it is.
Yeah.
I have another story about my homeboy K. I'm calling him K because I'm not going to say his real name. K was dating a white girl named Angela. The reason I can say Angela's name because Angela's in prison and probably won't even see this shit. That being said, yeah, she was doing tax fraud and some other shit. Either way, we was out one night at a bar. K and Angela get in a fight. Angela literally looked at this motherfucker and said, "Hey, nigga, you need to chill." In front of about 8 of us. Now, me, for whatever reason, the most light-skinned nigga in the group, I was the one who spoke up and was like, yo, you can't say that. Her first, no, I did. I was like, you can't do that. Now, I can't even believe I'm getting ready to say this. In her defense, she said, this is how me and him talk at home all the time.
Hey, and that's the thing.
Wait a minute, but I looked at her, but no. I looked at her and I said, you know what?
You not
I said,
at
Angie,
home, nigga.
That's fine. If he lets you say that at home, dumb on his part, but if he let you say that, that's cool.
Yeah.
Bitch, we is in public right now.
Yeah, you're not at home, shorty.
With the exception of me, you are the only other white person in this club. You have no protection. You have no right to bring that out your fucking mouth.
See, and that's the thing too. Like, my thing is this too. Like, what your.
But let me finish real quick. And I'm gonna let you go. But no.
Yeah.
And so Kay heard me say that to her, and he had the nerve to want to get mad and check me. Now, part of me understood that because that's your girl. You posted. Cool, whatever.
Okay, but
my response still. But my response
go out the window.
But my response to him was still like, bro, you let her talk to you this way? I said, even if it's in private, I don't agree with it, but at least it's in private.
Right.
You haven't checked her enough to where you make her understand she can't do this shit in public.
She really can't do it at all. It's one word that we ask white people not to say, and that's nigga or nigger. Like, it's mad. You could have said, she could have called him anything.
But you can't say that. Let me tell you why. No, let me finish. Because I can already finish. No, because that's just me like, no. If you said, no, here's why. You can't condone what two people do in their private life.
True.
Because that just be like, if you were dating somebody right now, that one girl, and we talked about this on the last thing, that one girl's rule might be, you can call me anything you want, don't call me bitch. And you agree to that. You might not call her bitch to her face, but when you get with me and Hop and whoever, hey man, how's old girl do? Man, that bitch driving me crazy. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't matter how you say it, you still say it. So the reason I say that, like, is this. What two people do behind closed doors, that, regardless whether we agree with it or not, that's fine.
Yeah.
As long as it stays there.
Yeah.
Once you bring it in public, it's fair game at that point. Go ahead and finish your. I just wanted to put that out there. Go ahead and finish. I'm sorry.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, the thing is, it's not a bad thing if you are it's all up to me. It's all about who you are. That's what it is, because all of my white friends, I can bring them anywhere at any given time. Matter of fact, I've brought, if any of my friends have been to my birthday party, you've seen all facets of my friends. You've seen some ghetto ones. You've seen some some upper class black people. You've seen some middle class white people. You've seen some upper class white people. You know what I mean? But you know what I've never had? I've never had an issue with like people saying like my different, because everybody got a different set of friends. So I'm not blaming anybody from keeping me and you away from upper class friends, or you know what I mean, like the friends that you work with or what's up. I'm not blaming them for that, because we all got different set of friends. All my friends come together when I've had parties or whatever the case may be. And you know what I get from the people that, even though some of them have used white privilege, some of them have different political views or religious views, the same thing I get from all of them is, yo, who was the white guy that was doing this, or who was the white guy that was doing that? You know what I mean? It's like, yo, I love him, he's great, blah blah blah. It's because they know and they respect you, because you've set in place, you know what I mean, your rules and parameters. They know what they can and cannot say. Now, if they going home and they looking in the mirror and they just saying nigga all the time, or when they rapping a rap song and they say nigga all the time, you know what I mean, like whatever the case may be, like that has nothing to do with me, because it's not in public. You know what I mean? Like it's just not that simple. Like they're not gonna be, none of my white friends are gonna go around me and a bunch of my family or a bunch of my black friends, and they just gonna start rapping a rap song and then say nigga. You know what I mean? Like, and that's because they know who I am, because we checked it. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. That's how you deal with that situation. You don't gotta conform to everybody. Right is right, wrong is wrong. It's as simple as that to me. You know what I mean? Like, April shouldn't feel comfortable saying that word around anybody that's black, anybody of color, if it's not only you and her in the room. That's what I'm saying. You need to check that. You know what I mean? You need to check that at first point, so she knows. Don't say that, because I told him, I said if some of our other friends was around, she might have got snuffed on. Like somebody might have, like, you know, Janine
would have fucked her up.
She would have been, and she wouldn't even had to hit her. She would have just been like,
Janine would have mentally fucked her.
She would have been like, excuse me, and that's my thing. It's like, like if you're making friends, you just around somebody, like, okay, I understand that, but bro, you gotta put them in check to the point where they know. Don't say this in front of them. Like, I don't hit women, but I would have snatched her ass up and took her outside real quick. Like, do you know what you just said? Like, you just embarrassed me. Like, if anything else. Yeah. Because the thing is, I don't really give a crap about her. You gonna get the flack for this. Because it's like, oh, so this is what y'all doing in private?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, this, so you just gonna allow her to embarrass you like this? Like, so, you know what I mean? That's my thing. I just think you gotta check it at point. And once you set your standards for and your morals, like, people just gotta respect that, or they not.
Do you realize how hard it was for me after that day happened to, first of all, to hang out with him and not bring that up, because I knew what, and the reason I say not bring it up is because I knew what the response would be.
Well, the thing is, it wasn't hard for me because he's not confrontational with his friends. So he thought that's
a good point.
He's not confrontational, and he is a, what do you want to say, a pleaser when it comes to like parties and stuff. So he didn't want because we was having a good night.
No, let's call it what it is. He's a pleaser when it comes to pussy. You don't want to. I'll say, he can be mad at me. I'll say it. He's a pleaser when it comes to pussy.
I think he's just a pleaser, period, though.
He's a pleaser when it comes to pussy.
It's probably extra when it comes to that.
We'll say it that way.
It's probably extra, but he's just, when he has guests over and stuff like that, because we was having a good night.
We was.
Somebody come cover this shit up.
Yeah. Y'all will never know what that means, but here's the thing. We're going to get t-shirts made.
Hey,
I need y'all to support Trenton's Tavern when we get it made.
One of y'all come cover this up, please.
Cover that shit up.
Yeah.
Don't ask what it means. Here's the one thing I can't tell you. It's not nothing racist. It's not nothing negative.
It's
not sexist.
Funny.
It's not nothing.
It's literally hilarious.
If you were not there when it happened, you're not going to understand.
It's literally
hilarious. Could tell you the story, But you're not gonna laugh at it. You might laugh, but you're not gonna laugh at it the same because
that was
you
one
weren't
of the
there.
greatest moments in cookout history. But yeah,
Just so I can have my credit, I am the one who said cover that shit up.
He definitely said it. So yeah, that's my thing. That's how I would handle it. And
So what happens if? Okay, so let's say you're the person we're talking about. You're dating this white girl.
Mm-hmm.
We're hanging out one night. She says it the first time. We're at your crib. I don't say nothing for the simple. It's your crib. I don't say nothing. For whatever reason, I ignore that it happened.
Mm-hmm.
We go on with the rest of the night. We drinking, playing dominoes, doing whatever. Comes up again. I look at you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. I'm about to go because I'm kind of fucked up. Knowing
you're right that you're not.
Knowing that you know how I am when I'm drunk. You know I'm not drunk, and you know I'm lying. But you don't put me on the spot. Then you just say, "All right, dog. Talk to you tomorrow." I just spent the night at your house. I got keys to your house. I go ahead and go home.
Mm-mm.
You call me the next day. You ask me, okay, what the fuck was really the problem? I tell you what the problem is.
Yeah.
You say, okay, I'm gonna take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna do both sides of this. You say, okay. You say you'll take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks go by. You don't tell me that you've had the conversation, anything. So I blatantly ask.
You're assuming.
No. We're basically saying how it went down. We're just changing people because I want to hear your. No, I'm not assuming because here's why. Because I want to hear your answer.
No, I'm saying, are you assuming that I took care of it? Because I haven't said nothing.
I am, because normally when you say you're going to take care of something, you do.
Right. Okay.
So
that's what I'm saying.
A couple weeks go by, I come at you like, yo, you talked to April yet? And you look at me and be like, nah. And I'm like, why?
Yeah, fam. I don't know.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't have a response. I have nothing. I don't have a response.
So, flip side of that. I talk to you. You say, yeah. I checked it. It's not going to happen again. Here's my question. This is important. No, it is. It's going to seem like we're going off topic, but we're not.
No.
This is important. You check her about it. Now, here's the thing. Do you keep fucking her?
Okay, here's the thing, bro.
And I understand that that's a tough question. I'm not saying this to be crass.
It's not.
That's really a tough question, especially
really
if you genuinely. Because when he first got with April, he genuinely liked her. Some shit happened, which we ain't gonna get into, that fucked that up. But
it's not a tough question, bro.
Okay, no,
it's not a tough.
It's a tough
question.
for some. It might not be for you.
It's not a tough question for the simple fact that it's like this, right? Like I said, it's the same thing with friendships. Now, with all of this stuff going on with Black Lives Matter and, you know what I mean, all of this racism and all of that stuff, for the friends that actually don't get it because they've grown up with this, they, they just believe this and that, you know what I mean? But you can see glimpses of it, whatever the case may be. For the ones that want to learn, you know what I mean? Like, you teach them and they still go back to whatever. You have a decision to make.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's as simple as that.
You do.
Like, you either want to learn about it, you want me to educate you, or help you get educated, or you're just going to continue to think one way. So it's a simple answer. You say something to me, I say something to her. She continues to do it. She's blatantly right there. She's letting me know that she don't respect nothing that I say. Period, point blank. And it's not a man or women or a woman thing. Like, she's the woman, she has to listen to me. It's just out of respect. This is a respect for me and my friends. This is a respect, because the thing is, whether people say it or not, when you're dating somebody, it makes life a lot easier when your friends accept them and your family accept them. Now, you could be like to a certain extent, like, well, I'm dating her or him, you know what I mean? Like, and it's like I gotta go home with him or her at the end of the night, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it's up to me, which is it's the truth.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, you're never gonna be able to take shorty anywhere ever. You're not going to be able to take her around your friends because they don't like her, and there's always going to be something. You're not going to be able to take her around your family because it's something and they don't like her. Like, so it's a lot easier when everybody around you, everybody in your circle, your close circle, is okay with this person. So if I'm telling you, if I step to you in a respectful way, and I'm like, listen, you can say that around me and you, but when you get in front of my friends, I don't care who it is, or my family, you gotta keep that. You can't say that. You just can't say that because they look at things a different way than me. They are blah blah blah, and people are different. It's as simple as that. Everybody is different. So even in the case of if I'm dating her, I'm okay with it. You're always at my house. You're okay with it. But then we might have person number 3, you know what I mean, that comes through and they're not okay with it. If it's one person out of there, we've both been outvoted because it's always going to be a situation.
It is.
That's the thing. It's always going to be odd. So it's as simple as that. If she can't respect that, I'm not messing with her no more. You know what I mean? It's just not because she's showing me right then and there. She don't respect nothing that I stand for. She's pretty much saying F me.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm going to do what I want to do and I'm not going to change for nobody, which I can respect her on that, but go be who you want to be with somebody else.
Right.
I'm cool. You know what I mean? Because I'm not about to be fighting my friends for you because you're going to end up getting beat up or something. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to warn you. I'm trying to help you. So if you just blatantly disrespecting, yeah, nah. I'm not. Listen, dog. It's 1,000,001 pussies in this world.
Man, who you telling?
One, I'm not going to conform for one for nothing. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to conform to one just to say just because of her vagina. Nah, I'm cool. Like my morals and my respect level is way too high for that.
Okay.
So that's just me.
So
I'm not messing with her no more.
Okay, well, take him out of it. But just if you have a friend in general who is black, and maybe let's just say for a second, they may be for whatever reason. Let's say they had the attitude of, I don't see it as a big deal, so neither should you. Depending on how deep the friendship is, because that's a key. This is a motherfucker you only know for 2 or 3 months. Y'all just co-workers or something. It's easy for you to be like, all right, well, fuck you.
Yeah.
I ain't got to hang out with you no more.
Yeah, deuces.
This somebody you might have decades in with.
Facts.
If the friendship is real to you,
Yeah.
it's a conversation that you and that person need to have.
And we definitely will.
So, how do you do with that? Especially if, because what if they hit you with some shit like this? What if they hit you with some shit like, listen, I understand how you feel. Even though they may have came close to crossing the line, they haven't crossed it yet. You need to let it go. When and if it crosses the line, I'll handle it.
First of all, you're not gonna talk to me like you my pops. That's
I'm just saying. We just
saying.
had pops on the phone. That's not what I'm saying. I ain't saying
this
that.
on the phone.
Does he watch this?
Yeah, all the
Fuck the Eagles. Now go ahead. Let me put my. I don't care if y'all beat us last night or not. If I'd have had my starting quarterback, we'd have won. Fuck y'all.
that was specifically to my pops because he just called while
Hey
we was
pops,
in the middle of
love you. Can't wait for you to come back so we can hang out. I'm sorry. All right, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we all gonna hang out when you get back. But yeah, fam, listen. The thing is, like, people. What's the saying? Like, people gonna show you who they are, and it's up to you to accept it for who they are. That's it, Red. That's all it is, for real. Like, at that point, it's gonna be like, my nigga, I'm not about to sit here and allow that. I'm not you. We're two different people.
I think the moral.
That was a good night, though.
I think the moral of what we was trying to say is you. If you didn't catch it, we have a person that we have to have a conversation with. I don't know if it's going to be one-on-one or if it's going to be a group thing. I think for them, it would probably be better if it was one-on-one because they got more history. But
it's not that hard either. It's really
it doesn't have to be. It's only a hard conversation. What makes it hard is because of the history that is with the three of us.
Yeah,
Is what makes it hard.
it's not.
It's an easy conversation, but the history is what makes it difficult. But I agree with what he said. At a certain point, if you do have a friend that's black and has these white friends, and if they say this shit that's borderline this, that, and the other, it's not your job to necessarily check the white friend first, because here's the reality of it. If it wasn't for your black friend, you might not know this white friend.
Exactly. I'm checking my friend first.
Yeah,
I'm not.
And I'm the same way.
Friend.
I'm checking my friend first. Hey, handle this, because if you don't, next time it happens, it's whatever at that point. I'm gonna give you a chance to fix it first.
And that's just like the incidents that we was talking about right before we got on camera, and you was like, yeah, it's this one person, you know what I mean, that's borderline prejudice. Or he is prejudiced, and
he's prejudiced as fuck.
He could be borderline racist. You haven't met him because you haven't been out there, blah, blah, but he says certain blah blah blah. Now, if you and I, mutual friend, don't check that shit, and that's who you met that person through, it's like, yeah, fam, I'm checking you, because people should know, period, point blank, whether that's integrity.
It is.
That's integrity. Like, people should know their boundaries, whether you're black friends or whatever friends can come around.
But it's like we said. That's why it's also his fault, because I can't go at a stranger who I didn't know before you and say you're crossing the line to when, if you've had this discussion with this person, I'm gonna come out and say it. The mutual friend we have, they work in law enforcement. I'm not going to say whether they're a cop or FBI, nothing like that. They're in law enforcement. So there are certain discussions we have been privy to. We weren't necessarily asking for, but because we were there, we were a part of, which in some ways adds a different element to it. The point I'm trying to make is this. I have been a part of some conversations that I didn't necessarily want to be a part of because of what this person does for a living. That being said, I've always been the type. I will respect anyone's opinion, even if I don't agree with it. I have met some truly racist people in my life, and I've had conversations with them. They tell me what they think, because just because you respect a person's opinion, it doesn't mean you agree with it. It doesn't mean you like it. They have the right to say whatever they want to say, just like you have the right to say whatever you want to say. Okay? And that's what makes this hard, because it does no good for me to cuss this person out and tell them they full of shit if my black friend lets them get this off, because he is under the same mindset of that's their opinion. And to a degree, he's right. But on the flip side of that, at a certain point, it has to be looked at like, you need to realize your opinions are pretty much denouncing my whole race as a people. So if you're denouncing my whole race, you're denouncing me as well. Fuck that I do this for a living and I have to protect you, and that doesn't matter. You are denouncing me as a person. So at a certain point, I hate to say it, you kind of have to pick a side. You have to at a certain point. And don't you do?
Here's the thing too, in my head, I believe that this goes back to the white privilege thing. Since we're talking about the person that I don't know that's prejudiced and he's borderline racist for the shit that he says, you know, white people think that this particular guy, I feel like he feels that he can say that stuff for two reasons. One, he's saying the stuff that he say to test our friend, just to see where his head is. You know what I mean?
That's
like just to see how far can I go with this guy. For the second reason, it's because he works in law enforcement, and he's like, well, they're on our side, so I can go ahead and say whatever I want to say, because you know what I mean? Like, it don't matter what I say. I'm not getting in trouble for it. They're on our side. You know what I mean? He's for me. Even though he's black, he's for me. And that's why I believe that he allows them to get away with that stuff, because there's certain things that could be said, and there's certain things that, you know what I mean, I've seen people try to get away with around him, and he goes berserk. Not a lot, but there's things that people can say, stuff that strike him, and he goes absolutely crazy. You know what I mean? These things just don't matter to him, though.
How do you deal with, because this does happen, and we just admitted it, regardless whether it's black or white, how do you deal with the people, because it does happen, how do you deal with the people that truly don't know any better? Honestly. Like, how do you deal with a person like, let's start with the white person. How do you deal with a person who's been so fucking sheltered that they just don't know? And even when you try and tell them, they're going to look at you confused because they have no idea.
Right.
And they're going to come at you with questions. And they're going to come at you with questions because they might make you mad, because you're going to look at them like, you know, what are you fucking saying? Like, if they truly don't know, how do you deal with them? And then to that black person who's never experienced it, when you go to that person, like, do you realize how racist they're being? And when they look at you and be like, well, I've known this motherfucker since then, or we've done this, and this. All like, right. If they truly don't know, you can pause it. Like, but I wanted to ask it before I went to bed. Cool. Like, how do you deal with each side?
Back from commercial break.
Right.
And I'll be getting paid for this one day.
I hope you do. Shit.
No, nigga, we gonna be getting paid. If I come up, you do too. Okay, so the question was, how do you deal with with both sides? Specifically, the white person that's been so sheltered that they just think that they're doing right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my thing with that. It's as simple as you take the time out to try to educate, right? I'm here to educate you. You, as a white person, will never know the struggle that I've had to go through as a black person. You're never going to know, even though you've been my friend for umpteen years. You're never going to know because you're not black. So you're never going to have to experience the things that I've had to experience.
Okay.
I can give you examples. I can put you in real life situations. You know what I mean? You can talk to my parents. You can talk to my cousins. You can talk to my grandparents. I can educate you as to why everything that you're saying or how you're going about whatever is completely wrong. The problem comes in when you don't want to learn. You know what I mean? Like when I'm physically showing you the evidence of whatever you're saying, when I'm physically showing you why you're wrong for saying what you're saying, or going about how you're going about things, or the way you think about certain things, when I'm physically showing you why you're wrong and you decide to keep reverting to what you believe, at that point, again, it's the same thing as when I decide, okay, we just can't be friends. You know what I mean? Because you're not willing to learn. You're only thinking one-sided. Like, it's just like racism.
Yeah.
Racist people, they only see one side of the track. That's it. They're not willing to learn. They're not going to try to learn. It's just like, I'm better than you because I'm white. And that's the simple. It's just that. Whether that's what you were taught or not, if you were taught something, you can be untaught it. It's as simple as that. You can unlearn whatever you learn. It's just up to you whether you want to.
Okay,
you know
so
what I mean?
What about the black person that don't see a problem with it?
Same thing.
Okay.
It's the same
That's
exact
fair. Okay.
thing.
I just wanted to know what the answer
And
was.
as the black person, it's even easier because you as a black person, you've been through some struggles. I don't care if you rich now or, you know what I mean, whatever the case may be. You wasn't always rich in your life. You know what I mean? So you had to fight. You had to watch your parents go through some things.
But what if he doesn't know that part about his life? What if his parents didn't have to? What if he was one of them generational
wealthy people?
Yeah. That doesn't know.
It's still the same thing.
I mean, you got to break down and look, but what?
Yeah, it's still the same thing to me, though. You know what I mean?
I agree.
It's still the exact same thing
for the
because
viewers, I'm just trying to put another.
Because really, like Chris Rock said, like, I'm not worried about so much my kids getting shot or, you know what I mean, like having a problem with the police because of who my name is and because the tax bracket that I'm in. You know what I mean? How famous I am and blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, we're still black. So at any given time, okay, yeah, we may not have to deal with the police, but when my kid does something wrong, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna feel the effects of that, of, you know, them trying to cancel me or cancel my kids, or bringing stuff up from years ago that I said or did. You know what I mean? Like, if black people have it bad all around. If it's not with the police, it's or the law, it's with, you know what I mean, celebrities, and, you know what I mean, like, things that I said back in the day, and I can't make a mistake, you know what I mean? It's just, we have it bad regardless. LeBron is one of the greatest basketball players of all time. The moment that he loses a game, it's like, oh, he's washed. Like, he's not the greatest of, like, it don't matter, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, Kevin Hart, he had a clean stance. You know what I mean? They wouldn't brought up some stuff he said about gay people years ago, before he was even Kevin Hart, before he was, and then they tried to cancel him. He couldn't even be the host of the Emmys because of that.
Oscars, yeah.
Or the Oscars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He just backed off. It was like one thing that happened 20 years ago when I was a kid.
And you know what was fucked up about that? People don't want to admit it. What he said wasn't wrong.
Dog.
Especially in our community. There's a lot of dads, men, who feel that way.
I'm just saying. The same thing is going on right now with my man Joe Budden, and how they got played over at Spotify and stuff like that. Like, these things just happen. You know what I mean? Like, I just being black, it's when you're rich, it just takes you out of certain dangers. You know what I mean? Like, when you're rich, it just takes you out of certain dangers. But it don't take you out of the dangers from white people, period. Because just like J. Cole said, there's white people right now that's laughing at Jay-Z for the money that Jay-Z has. You know what I mean? Like, they would kill themselves if they looked at their bank accounts and they seen Jay-Z's money. And he's a billionaire. You know what I mean? Like, so as a black person, we're just never good enough. We're never good enough. Like, it don't matter if you got a lot of money or whatever the case may be. So as it's even easier for me if I have to say something to the black person. In my eyes, it's easier to me. The white person, I'm kind of being lenient with you because that's all you know. You know what I mean? They kind of instilled that in your bloodline. You know what I mean? You just gotta unlearn some stuff. The black person, you know, you going through struggle whether you was born into royalty or not. You can be born into royalty, go to an all-white school, you know what I mean, and you're gonna feel like the outcast and you ain't got you driving a Range Rover as a 15-year-old. But there's something that'll happen where the kids will be like, well, you know what I mean, like the if you're going to a predominantly private white school or something, they're gonna say something to you, you know what I mean, because these kids' parents have more money than your parents. You know what I mean? So it don't matter when you black. It's just levels to being rich. Like, it's just levels to wealth. But you still gonna have to endure some hate as a black person. That's just the way they got it set up for us. You know what I mean? So it's easier for me for the black person. But yeah, that's how I would handle that. So yeah.
I get it.
Good.
We're good.
All right, cool.
I think we've exhausted this topic for the day.
Please call me.